How much of our lives are actually us? Message 13 Destiny. Hey everyone, it's Desi from Unsent Voice Memos, and I thought for this week, well, actually, my original thought was like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about this week. What am I even going to upload this week? Because I really want to upload, but I have no idea what to talk about. So I was thinking for a bit, and then I was thinking about school because I actually have like so much homework. Like, it's kind of annoying how much homework I have, but I'm taking a break today, and then theoretically, I just do my homework tomorrow and get a bunch of it out of the way. So I was thinking about that. And then for my homework, I have to like finish off reading like an act because I'm doing Shakespeare at the moment. And I'm just like finishing off reading Act 3 of the play I'm reading. So I was thinking about that. And then because I was thinking about that, I was thinking about like just fate and free will and just like it being such a common theme in plays, especially tragedies, which is what I'm studying right now. So then that kind of got me thinking how, like, as much as I hate to admit it, that I was thinking about Shakespeare and how it can be like taken in a modern society, I really was thinking about how fate versus free will can be like interpreted in a modern society when a lot of fate has been disproven that way. So that is what I'm just talking about today. Just fate, free will, destiny, freedom, whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about, you could say the tension. I'd rather think of it as something else, which I'll get into. So when I was thinking about this, I was just kind of wondering, like, why things happen the way they happen. Like, you could think about it in really any sort of aspect. Like, I'm trying to think, like, a test. Like, on one of my tests, I got 75%, and I was really happy with it. And I was like, was this like part of it was me wondering, was I always meant to get 75% on this test, or was it actually my hard work that allowed me to get 75% on this test? And when it comes to academics for me, I do like to believe that it's my hard work, but I also know sometimes my hard work's not rewarded. So then I guess I blame it on fate, which I guess like in Shakespeare, a lot of the characters do. They blame whatever's happening outside on fate and anything they can't control. They're like, oh, that's fate. But when it's something you get or something you want, you're like, yes, that was all my work. Nothing happened in the stars or whatever. It was just all my hard work. It was just me, my choices, my everything. But then that kind of like brings the question with that tension where we're wondering, oh, on one hand it can be this, but on the other hand it can be that. There's no in between at all. And it was such an odd thing because I was like, if it was like just for this particular subject, I was happy to get a 75, and some other subjects I wouldn't be as happy to get a 75 just because of what my strengths and weaknesses are and just what my different expectations are. But yeah, if it was another subject, I would have been like, oh, well, I was just having a bad day, or something happened to me that I just didn't perform as well. Like, I wouldn't really blame it on my lack of hard work. Like, sometimes I do, and I've definitely gotten better at being accountable of just letting it be my choices that affect me, both positively and negatively. But definitely in the past, I would be like, yes, no, it wasn't my fault at all. It was someone else's, or yeah, I would never take accountability that it was my fault and I would blame it on fate or just like circumstances that had happened that day or in the past week or in the lead up to studying, whatever it was. And when it comes to fate, you look at the moon and the stars a lot of the time, so astrology, and that's definitely true in like olden days. And when I'm saying olden days, I'm not meaning like 80 years ago, meaning more like, well, probably 80 years ago, if I'm being honest, but more like 100 to like 200 years ago, this is definitely prevalent about like, oh, you look at the stars and the moon and their positions and other stuff like, because my dad does follow it a bit, so I do hear about it and I find it interesting. I don't know if I believe in it, but I do find it interesting. and you look at like where the placement of everything is was when you were born, and then from there you kind of just read into your future. Like that's kind of the reason we have zodiac signs, is because of like not just when you were born, because like there's the basic, which is called your sun, but everyone just calls it your zodiac sign, which is like Aquarius, Taurus, Aries, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Cancer. Those ones I don't know all of them, but I counted 7, so that's pretty good. But anyway, so those are like your zodiac signs, and you have 3, but we only know of the one usually because that's the easiest one to calculate, which is what day you're born. So that's your sun, and I don't know how the other 2 are calculated, which is your moon and your rising, but that like you need to know your birthplace and exact time you were born. So not everyone can calculate it. There are calculators online that you can figure it out. So if you do want to try that, I would recommend actually. It is kind of fun, and now I do know mine. I don't know them off by heart, but I do like know them, and I have it saved somewhere. So I do like occasionally look back just for funsies. But yes, essentially when you're looking at fate and like moon and the stars and stuff, you look at your zodiac sign, and you look at like you can look at from that point of view mapping out what your future holds for you based off that. And then the other part of it is you should just look up at like the moon and the stars on any given day, and then that kind of tells you if like the world's in chaos or not. That situation, that's a very like Shakespearean thing. So that's like the whole fate destiny side. And then you have like your other hand, which is where you take full accountability, and it's about like the choices you make, which like lead to defining moments. I like to say, I don't want to say they make them, I'd rather say they lead to them, because that's essentially saying every choice you make somehow will lead to whatever happens in the future that is your defining moment. So I'm just going to take a super random one that hasn't happened to me. I am being very clear about that right now, is like getting married. Like, what? You could be like, one moment that could have happened years ago, which would have, like, if this didn't happen, you would have never met that person, is like, oh, decide to go to the same school as them. But obviously, neither of you knew that you guys were going to that school. So it's just like choosing to go to that school, your parents choosing for you to go to that school. And then it's like, oh, I'm gonna try this sport, and then that's where you guys meet at that sport, but you neither of you obviously conferred. That's about the choices you make. But then you could look at the stars, and it's like, oh, fate decided that we should be together. Which is where I come up with what my idea on how much fate controls us and how much our choices control us. I really don't believe it's one or the other, where there's just a tension where you have to choose. I do believe they work in a nice harmony, where it is, yes, the choices you make, but the choices you make are written up in the stars. So even though they're your choices and you do choose to make them happen, and you choose for things to happen that lead to moments that you're either very proud of and you're not proud of, they are definitely going to happen one way or another. So that way, I kind of like to think of not the stars necessarily mapping out your future and telling you exactly when something's going to happen, but rather it like shows you, if you're into that stuff and read it, that it shows you moments that are going to happen, but you don't know how they're going to happen, and you don't know how the like what choices you make are going to lead up to that. So at the end of the day, it is your choices that make these different moments happen, but it was always meant to happen one way or another, in one, like in the future, early on, whatever. And that's kind of where I've developed to this saying, probably subconsciously, that everything happens for a reason. Because like going, especially when you go through tough times, it's very hard to think that it is like they were your choices, and you do like to blame the world and other people that like hurt you or whatever, being like, oh, they did this, this, and this, and that's why this has happened this way. I did nothing wrong or whatever. And that could be true, but I don't believe that. I always believe we all have a role to play in whatever happens. Maybe not fully, but we always have a role. But whenever these bad moments happen, I do like to think that, well, actually, it wasn't originally my words. It is like someone I have talked to, like one of my friends. She's a very lovely friend, and she actually told me this, and I really do love this, so I'm sharing it with you guys now. that the world won't do something that you can't come out of. And I thought about it and I was like, that is so true. The world that way won't give you a challenge that it doesn't think we aren't capable of, not necessarily defeating, but facing and coming out of it stronger and having grown since that experience happened. Because the world is not easy, life is not easy. We've all been told that. And the world will give us like these challenges and whatnot. And yeah, it will give us something that we will struggle to get out of, but it will end up rewarding us in the end, one way or another, even if we can't see it in the moment. So I feel like just having that little bit of hope in those moments that the world does have our best interests at heart will just like make you feel a bit better sometimes. And then obviously if it's like a bad moment, like I don't know, you get caught playing games in school and then you get detention, then you get the consequences for it. That is what you get for your choices. And maybe I don't know if it's your first time getting detention. Somewhere, someone, somehow it was said that you should get detention. And maybe that's a challenge for you getting detention because you're not used to getting in trouble or something. But that wouldn't happen if you wouldn't be able to survive it and grow from it. And I feel like that is essentially it. Like, so many people view, including Shakespeare, I feel like, view fate and free will as a thing that has to be polar opposites, that there has to be tension between them. But I think when you look through it from a different lens, there's a nice harmony. And it's just whatever you believe. Like, I know some people in my life do believe that this is a completely free will world, but I honestly think it's a bit of both because if you have one, why can't you have the other? Because everything's a balance. And I think I'm just going to end on this like note slash point. I don't know how long it will take, but I'm going to end on it. Is that we all get what we deserve, no matter if it's pre written in the stars or it is our hard work. And I am meaning this is what happens when you take accountability of your choices, is that when you take accountability, you get what you deserve. If you're blaming others and stuff like that, you don't necessarily get what you deserve, which is why if you want to get what you deserve, you have to look at it from an accountability perspective, I'm going to say, because yeah, it does, like at the end of the day, how much of it's fate and how much of it's free will, I have no idea. If it's all fate, if it's all free will, who knows? But by taking accountability, you do know one thing, is that at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you're going to get what you deserve. So that is it for today. I hope you do like that ending point. It is a bit shorter than usual. I don't think it's my shortest one yet. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. And yeah, don't forget to follow me on Spotify and YouTube, just what like either of those two platforms that you listen on. I am really looking forward to getting 100 followers on Spotify. I might do like a bonus episode or message that week once we get to 100 followers and kind of for every milestone. So that would be great to gain that support. If you listen to it, make sure you tell your friends. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Unsend Voice Memos Podcast. I am looking to post exclusive content soon and just like little bits of my everyday life that I probably won't talk about on here. So if you want to be able to see that, make sure you follow me on Instagram so you are the first to get notified when I post something. And until then, I will see you guys next Wednesday for the next message. That message actually wasn't surprisingly bad, and I didn't mind it. Maybe that was just me getting better because I've been practicing, or maybe fate told me I should get better. Message 13 concluded.